guys. Welcome to another edition of Mindset Mondays. Got a new hat on. That's because Notre Dame finally won a game. So it's time to wear the gear again. I just put that crap away. I was so disappointed, specifically with the defense. But that's not the mindset I'm getting after today, because if you put your mindset on sports, it's inevitable you're going to be disappointed and wallowing in shame and self-pity like I do on Sundays after college football day. But hey, good win for me with the Irish, and then the Aztecs beat Cal 37-0. My goodness, let's just set our minds on that today. Anyways, I'm just kidding. I want to double click on something we talked about yesterday, which seemed to get a big, what would you say? Just a big response from people, just really a heartfelt response. One gentleman came up to me in tears, just how it struck him. And the theme was this. The theme was the feeling of being out of control and trusting God with his control over things. And I ended the gathering with a meditation, a fixing of our mind on a truth. If you're not familiar with this concept of meditation, it really encompasses what we're trying to do, or at least what I'm trying to do with these Mindset Mondays, is that we're meditating on a truth. Eastern meditation is an emptying of the mind. Christian meditation is the filling of the mind, setting our mind on something, specifically on Jesus. There's a couple verses for this that are pretty popular. One is Philippians 4:8. I have it for you. It says, "Now, dear brothers and sisters, one final thing, fix your thoughts on what is true and honorable and right and pure and lovely and admirable. Think about things that are excellent and worthy of praise." This is a meditation. It's to actually think about it, to fill your mind with all of these things, the pure and holy things, all of this. Another one is Colossians 3:1 and 2. It says, "If you have been raised with Christ, seek the things that are above." Actually, some translations would say, "Fix your heart on things that are above, where Christ is, seated at the right hand of God." Here it is. Fix your mindset on things that are above, not on things that are on the earth. It's kind of a simple phrase, really. It's think about things that are really eternally matter, truths about God that are true even when you don't feel them or see them happening in your life. I think a lot of people I know a lot of people, and myself included, wrestle with a feeling of being out of control. Whether it's the way your kids are behaving, for me, and not being able to kind of rein them in and get them to do what I would hope that they would do, and it just seems like the house is spiraling, or your job is in question, or there's chaos in your family, or you're reading the news, that's a popular one right now, and you're just seeing all the craziness, and this feeling of everything is out of control starts to come up. It's a powerful feeling. And so we begin to worry. And yesterday we talked a lot about that, about the worry that comes. You know, when that lie that everything is out of control starts to take your mindset, we begin to worry. We begin to feel maybe a hopelessness set in. But are things really out of control? Like really deep down, do we believe that in light of God's sovereignty and his care? Of course not. We know he's in control. Even though we may feel things are out of control, we know the truth really is, fact over feeling, he is in control. And actually, Jesus in the text we look at says, even in things are totally chaotic, don't worry. Like, don't panic. I'm even going to give you words to say in those moments. I'm going to use them as opportunities. Even though they seem like cursings, I'm going to use them as blessings. And so when we are able to fix our minds on the control that Jesus has over all things, it doesn't produce worry. It produces a sense of peace. When we truly believe that deep down, our mind is set on his control over all things, it actually produces a peace in us. In me, it does for sure when I meditate on that. When I fix my eyes on that, of his control of everything. Actually, in Romans, Paul says that all things are going to work together for good, the ultimate good and his glory. When we believe that, when we fix our minds on it, there's a phrase I like to use in this reality of his control, and it's this: when I start to feel out of control, I say, I know God is in control. I'm not in control. And that's a good thing, actually. And God hasn't asked me to be in control. He's just asked me to contribute. It's a powerful phrase. God has not put me in control. He's just put me in a place to contribute. And so that's what I'm going to do. That's what I have control over, is my contribution. I'm going to do that and let it be enough. And so to fix our minds on this, I want to ask you a question. If you were to close your eyes, or if you're driving, don't do that. But if you can picture in your mind's eye a moment that you've experienced where you knew God is in control. Where were you? See it in your mind. When has been a moment where you said, oh my gosh, God is so in control of this? Where were you? Where were you standing? Where were you sitting when this hit you, when you knew it to be true? What was the temperature in the room that day? Was the sun out? I mean, go to that moment and fix your mind on that moment. There's a power in the moments we've shared with God. I pray that you'd hold on to that moment. When that feeling of out of controlness comes and you say, no, wait, I know God's in control, go there. Go there with him and thank him for his control. In that moment, remember, it's happened in your life. I know for me, when the door opened for us to buy a house, we never thought we'd be able to buy a house. Just it financially didn't make sense. And then all of a sudden things timed up to where God just opened all these doors, one after the other. Too long to tell you here. But there was a house, and I always think of that moment we got that house and we live in it. And every time I go to bed, I go, thank you, Lord. Like, you're so in control. My house is a visible evidence of his sovereignty. And one more. We did this yesterday, but if you weren't there for it, could you also picture in your mind the cross? Can you see the cross in your mind? Jesus on the cross, breathing his last, saying, Father, forgive them. They know not what they do. Can you see that moment? Because if you can see that dark moment, that day of Jesus breathing his last and saying it is finished, that moment to all of the disciples except for one, John, that showed up at the cross, and even he was probably weeping with sadness. To everybody that was around Jesus, that moment seemed like the worst moment in human history, that this just, beautiful man that only ever walked in love and truth was killed, was murdered unjustly. And they all thought this is the worst possible thing that could have happened in life. And yet, that very moment was the greatest moment in all of world and human history. It was the salvation of everyone who would ever call on his name and believe in him. That moment, the moment that seemed out of control, Jesus was in more control than at any other point in his life. That moment was his control on display, that he was saving everybody, dying for the sins that we should have died for in our place, and then raising again. Picture that moment, friends. Let our minds be set on the things of above, that Jesus is in control. He has proved it in our life. He proved it at the cross. And therefore, we don't have to worry. We're not in control. He is. And he's just called us to contribute. I wonder what that is for you today. I hope you take that meditation with you through the rest of today and this week. God bless you guys.